morning, traders. Thank you for joining us on this WTV special on putting your mind over the market. I'm Jared Levy, Chief Options Strategist here on Wise Trade TV, and using psychology in today's market is not an easy thing to master. It takes a lot of discipline and skill to become a consistent and successful trader. Here to talk to you about what you need to do in order to put your mind over the market is Mark Douglas. Mark has been a successful trader since the 80s and has written 2 books on trading psychology, both Trading in the Zone and The Disciplined Trader. You've heard me talk about them many times here on WTV, and he is here today to help you become successful traders. Mark, good morning. How's it going?
Good morning, Jared. Glad to be here, and I hope I can be of assistance to some of your traders who are viewing right now.
Mark, you know, last time we were together was at Wise Fest, and had a lot of fun. I'm really excited you're here with me today.
Thanks.
So let's get started. First of all, you know, one of the main issues that I see all the time is that people don't use their method to its full potential. In other words, there's a negative correlation between what the trader ends up with and what he could have had if he just followed his methodology. Right. In your DVD program, you refer to this as the profit gap. This is a problem. You refer to it as the profit gap. And I think it's one of the least understood concepts of trading. Can you address this a little bit, this profit gap?
Yeah, that's actually a really good place to start because I think that more than anything, what your viewers want or what your customers want are consistent results. They want to be able to produce an income that that they can rely on from their trading. And I'm sure that many of your viewers have already realized that getting a steady income is not such an easy task.
Yeah, and everyone seems to get trapped thinking that because trading is easy. Right. Or because it's easy to find yourself in a winning trade, exactly. Which many people do.
Right.
You know, they think it's also easy to become a consistent winner.
Right.
And you know, it took a long time before it actually dawned on me that winning and being a consistent winner are 2 completely different animals, 2 different things. And in some ways, there isn't even a relationship between the 2.
It almost seems like there's no relationship between the 2.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real hard mental barrier to break through. Mainly because, it's so easy to find yourself in a winning trade because winning actually requires no skill at all. In other words, unless you consider that the being able to click a mouse button or tap a pad is a skill, right. And we don't have to have a reason or good reason or even actually any reason to put your cursor on the buy or sell button and then immediately find ourselves in a winning trade. And it could be a monster of a winning trade. And what did it take? What kind of skills did it take to actually experience this? Absolutely none.
Yeah. So it'd be natural to take the leap from, well, if it's this easy to win, it can't be that much harder to make a steady income. Like you said, it's that easy to click the mouse and for me to sit there and make $5,000 or $10,000, then it must be pretty darn easy for me to sit there and make a living out of this. And that's what I thought for a long time, but that is not the case.
No, and that's exactly how I started out too. And I know, not unlike a lot of other people who are willing to, let's say, give up a real high-paying career to be a trader because they thought it couldn't be that hard.
So what makes consistency so challenging? What's the big hurdle there?
Well, we're gonna get into that, but at the most general level, I'm going to say that it requires learning the type of skills that people just simply aren't used to learning.
Mental skills.
Mental skills, yeah, exactly. In other words, it requires mental skills. Most people assume that because their technical method gives them a signal to get into a trade, that if the method produces a high percentage of winners, it will equate to a consistent income, not taking into consideration that the proper execution of those signals requires mental skills.
Give us an example of this.
Well, take for an example, a high school basketball player who, he'll go in the gym and practice throwing his free throws, maybe for even 2 or 3 hours a day. It wouldn't be unusual for him to be able to hit 50 in a row, would it? I mean, that's
you see that all the
out
time.
of the realm of reality, right? Okay, so the problem is that could he even hit 2 in a row if the circumstances were he was in the final game of the NCAA championship, his team is down 1 point, there's only a few seconds left on the clock, and he was just fouled.
Changes everything.
Yeah, under those circumstances, without the appropriate mental skills, hitting either one of those free throws is very unlikely. And regardless of how well someone could do it in practice, most people would choke.
So really the skills you're referring to, what you're talking about, Mark, is actually staying focused on the process, staying positively focused on the process itself, in this case of throwing the ball, in our case obviously of trading or following your method,
right.
And not being worried about blowing it, about the consequences of what could happen if this trade goes wrong.
Exactly right. Just like what I'm going through right now.
You're
trying
on
to stay
TV.
focused. Yeah, trying to stay focused on the process of this presentation and not blowing it.
Well, you're doing fantastic, by the way.
Anyway, you know, with training, we may have a technical method telling us what to do and giving us the potential to generate consistent results. But like the basketball player, without developing the appropriate mental skills, it's unlikely we'll be able to do what our method or trading plan is indicating without making a number of potential execution errors. In other words, to stay positively focused on the process of trading by doing exactly what we need to do, when we need to do it, without hesitation, reservation, or fear.
Okay. That's interesting.
So you see, no matter how good a technical method is at generating winning trades, turning those winners into a consistent income requires the ability to do or not do some things that the method itself can't help us with. For example, our method can't force us to predefine the risk of getting into a trade. Or if we do predefine the risk, our method can't force us to take the loss that ends up turning into a bigger loss.
Right.
And you know, that's happened to everybody. Okay? Our method can't prevent us from moving a stop closer to our entry point where we get stopped out and the market trades back in our favor. Our method can't prevent us from hesitating and getting in too late. Or our method can't stop us from jumping the gun and getting in too soon, where the signal to actually get in never really develops. And our method can't stop us from getting out of a winning trade too soon and leave money on the table. Nor can it prevent us from letting a winning trade turn into a losing trade without having taken any profit.
I know that all of our traders have experienced these issues. I know they have, and I think really what you're saying is that the methodology, and this methodology, folks, what we're talking about when we say the word methodology is the Wise Trade software, that's our method. And it can give us winning trades. We've seen, I know all of you have had winning trades, but it cannot give us consistent results if we're susceptible to making the kind of mental errors that you're talking about here. Okay?
Exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. And all the mental errors I just listed are the result of thinking, believing, or assuming that our technical method is telling us what's going to happen next on a trade-by-trade basis, and not understanding that technical methods aren't designed to do that. Technical methods and patterns are designed to put the odds of success in our favor over a series of trades. It may not seem like it on the surface, but there's some profound psychological implications here. What this means is the outcome of the signals generated by any technical method on a trade-by-trade basis are unique and random. In other words, there's no way to know in advance what the outcome to any particular signal will be or what the sequence of wins or losses will be over a series of trades.
It's a mouthful. and I understand what you're saying. And I think, you know, we need to, first of all, know that many of our viewers out there are experiencing the same sort of thing, okay? And they're probably going to have some trouble grasping this concept that by accepting the randomness of these outcomes, they can produce consistent results. That's an odd concept.
Yeah, but that's exactly what I'm saying, Jared. I know it's somewhat of a paradox to think that events that have a random outcome can produce a consistent result, but think about it. This is the principle that's been used by casinos for hundreds of years.
Right. Technical
methods and patterns will give the individual trader the same kind of advantage the casino has over the individual player. If the trader can think about